David, let's cut this short. How old was Isaac's wife in the Bible?
Doesn't say, but she was certainly old enough to take care of 10 camels. No, it doesn't.
It's very clear how old Rebecca was.
Oh yeah, get chapter and verse.
No. It's very clear if you look at the logic.
Chapter and verse.
3 years old.
Get chapter and verse. I will bow down and recite the Shahada if you show me she was 3 years old.
You said the same thing about the gospel, and we showed you plenty of proof.
You showed me zero. You showed me never. You'll never show me one verse, and now you're just lying. Chapter and verse. It's very simple. Chapter such and such, verse such and such.
There is enough.
I will recite. I will bow down and recite the Shahada.
If the moon split,
chapter and verse. Prove me lying. Prove me lying. Prove me lying. Chapter and verse.
It's not about chapter and verse. The Bible is very clear on how Rebecca.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Give us the verse. I agree, but note she's repeatedly called. She's repeatedly called young woman. Do you think 3-year-olds are young women? This is what. Notice
commentaries, and you're pulling commentaries out of your head and whatever you like.
What commentary? That's what the text says. It calls her a young woman and says
3 years
old. She watered 10 camels. A 3-year-old. I have a 4-year-old who couldn't water one camel. Notice the principle, ladies and gentlemen, because there's always a principle. If you tell that this is the principle in Islam. If you tell the truth about our prophet by quoting our sources, we'll lie about your prophets. And these are from people who claim to respect Abraham and Isaac, lying about Abraham and Isaac, saying that Abraham sent someone to get a 3-year-old daughter. Notice, we'll say all the prophets did all these horrible things. What devout Muslims we are.
Before I address those points, allow me to address the double standards of David Wood. Again, according to the Bible, Isaac married the possibly 3 to 10-year-old Rebecca, and that evidence is debatable. And Mary, the mother of Jesus, peace be upon them both, is depicted as marrying the 90 to 80 to 9-year-old Joseph when she was 11 or 12 years old. The evidence is there's debatable. Why doesn't David Wood attack them? It's because he has double standards.
Isaac married Rebecca. Have you noticed how much they toss this around? Rebecca is called a young woman over and over and over again. And if she was 3 years old when she was hauling hundreds of gallons of water for those camels, she's basically a superhero. That's how desperate they are. And then he brings up, of course, the age of Mary. Mary is called a woman in the Bible, in the same Bible that calls 12-year-olds little girls. She's called a woman. We have no authoritative source on the age of Mary.
Also, I would like to point out that according to the Bible, okay, Rebecca was 3 years old. The wife of Isaac was 3 years old.
Show me the verse where show me the verse where it says that. If you think this is true, then give me the verse. It takes you 1 second to say it. Give me the verse where it says that.
I don't want to divert the topic. Sorry.
There is no verse. There is no verse. You're lying. There is no such verse. That's it.
Yeah, you can believe that if you wish, but basically the Bible says there is no such verse. The Bible says that according to the Bible, according to the even to the Talmud itself, it says that Rebecca was 3 years old when she was married.
Connor says, Muslim apologist, can you provide the chapter and verse for this claim in the Bible that Rebecca was 3?
There you go.
Okay. Right.
Which verse is it?
Instead of me going into detail, I would suggest that you go to my channel. I actually discuss this in detail. There are at least 3 videos where I talked about it in detail, where I clearly showed evidence that Rebecca was 3 years old when she was married.
I think they want it now, though, like in the debate.
Okay, where's the Bible verse which says that Rebecca was 3 years old?
I mean, I think it's going to be too long if I were to show that, because it came from.
Just show us the Bible verse. Just show us the Bible verse that says Rebecca was 3 years old.
It's derived from the Bible verse, but not explicitly. Okay.
So you just said that the Bible. You said in the debate with me that the Bible says that Rebecca is 3 years old.
Based on the calculations from the Bible, as per the rabbi's calculation.
So let's get it clear. So let's make it clear then. The Bible does not itself say that Rebecca was 3 years old.
No, it does say that.
Thank you. It doesn't. You say it does say it.
Yeah, it does say it.
Okay, where does it say it then?
I already told you. I said that it comes from calculations of the rabbis.
So the Bible itself does not say it. It's others who say it.
Maurice
Marshall derived from the Bible. My God.
So the Bible does not say it.
The Bible does say that is why it's derived from the Bible.
Then where does it say it?
I think they're asking for like the
or
verse.
does the Bible say it?
Oh my God!
Is it derived from the Bible or does the Bible say it?
Please, you can just watch the videos that.
Okay, so the Bible does not say it. We have closed the case. Thank you.
Isn't it like 2 or 3 important persons in I think the Old Testament that also was with
No, that's based on later work by a Jewish sage or rabbi, and I believe around like 1,000 years ago, named Rashi, who made that calculation, and other rabbis even disagree and said it's wrong. So no, it's not in the Bible. It never says that. It mentions Rebecca like bringing water for like 10 camels. Okay, what 3-year-old could do that? It'd be ridiculous. So no, it doesn't say that. The other one that uses Mary being 12, and again, that's also not in the Bible. Work by Amram Trooper and Michael Satlow point out the average age of Jewish girl would marry in that time in Palestine would be late teens to early 20s. So Mary was probably closer to around the age of 18 or so.
Yeah, and I'm bona fide. I can tell you exactly. We know exactly where the rabbi who misinterpreted Genesis 22. We know exactly where it came from, and we know exactly. The Dawa guys do the exact same thing. They go to the end of Genesis 22 because keep in mind the Bible doesn't say how old Rebecca was. It just doesn't say. It describes her, and she sounds like someone in her mid-teens. That's what she sounds like to me with the work that she's doing and so on.
I think it was Utman. He's called Utman, right? That made a clip about it, and they brought up like 3 different.
Yeah. We've gone through that. And matter of fact, me and AP, we went through that video, and there's a part where he's saying, and it's in this verse, and it's in this verse, and then he just makes a claim and does not give the verse because it's not actually in there. And there's always a spot where they cannot, and they understand this. Anyone who tries to argue it and tries to do the math, you need the big blunder that you have to make at the end of Genesis 22. Basically, at the end of Genesis 22, it says Abraham got news from back home, and he found out about all his new relatives that he wasn't aware of. So he came from a long way away. And he eventually hears news about all his family members who were born. A mistake that a rabbi once made and that the Dawa guys all need, because other than that, you cannot possibly calculate. Matter of fact, it's right here. It says, now after these things, it was told to Abraham, behold, Milcah also has borne children to your brother Nahor, Uz his firstborn, Buz his brother, Kemuel the father of Aram, Kesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlap, and Bethuel. Bethuel fathered Rebekah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother. It lists his family members who'd been born since he left. So he got news from home. What they do is they say, oh, it mentions Rebekah here. Bethuel fathered Rebekah. Therefore, she must have been born right here. That's the argument. Okay, I'm hoping you see how silly that is to say he heard news from home. Therefore, this is the date at which she was born, because they need that for the math. They need to say, okay, right now is when she was born. And therefore, we can start calculating her age from this point. This doesn't say this is when she was born. It says this is when Abraham heard about his family members that had been born. It mentions a bunch of people who have been born. There's no indication here that she was born on this day. That's how Dawa guys use it. They say right here at the end of Genesis 22, that's when Rebekah was born. So we'll start counting now, and we'll get an age of 3 later on. Well, this is not what the text says. So